and welcome to What Heather Did. I'm Heather and I like to do things. And today I am participating in the YouTube Blue Challenge. And the challenge was to take a piece and make it blue, completely transform it into a blue masterpiece. Blue everywhere, paint the town blue, blue.
It's only supposed to be a little bit of blue.
Oh, it doesn't have to be all blue?
Yeah, it's just.
Oh. So you could do just a little bit of blue?
Yeah.
What if I wanted to do a lot of blue?
You could do that.
Can I do a lot of blue?
Yes.
Blue up! Okay, so for this challenge hosted by Flip Pop, and the playlist link will be in the description below, so please check that out. I am taking a couple of old school dusts that I found while on a walk with my son. There was a local school, just had a bunch of stuff outside to get rid of. And these are those old ones that have that metal inside that, is like a black hole. This beautiful top and slick, shiny legs that are scratched and damaged. And I'm going to show you how to take something free and do a makeover on a budget, but still make it functional and pretty. Alright, for time's sake, we're skipping past me cleaning and taking this apart. What I am doing here is using spackling compound to even out that texture on the side. You can see those little textures, and somebody did point out that I was probably the only one who would notice this, but it gives it a smoother finish on the sides, and that's what I wanted. I tried it with wood filler and spackling compound. The spackling compound was easier to spread, and the price is a little bit lower. But at the end, what you can do is smooth it on there, and then once it's dry, sand it smooth. The finish I got for both was the same. The spackling compound was just easier to spread, so I'm using that. Now, you do want to clean these. Like, I use lots of, actually just soap at first, and then a degreaser. There was some scraping to get some stickery stuff off, and stuff that had just been stuck on there. So there was a lot of that, a lot of cleaning to just smooth everything out. Also, one of the legs had been filled with tiny bits of confetti, so some kid had shoved all that in there, which was hilarious when I took it off. I did prime it to give it a nice, even, smooth texture to start with. So it's just a spray primer that I'm going to talk about. So that's what I didn't show. Okay, so part of making sure your piece looks good is priming it. The prep work is everything. You clean, 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 clean. Just as simple. Clean, 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 clean. I didn't show cleaning. There's reasons. Anyway, so priming. You want to prime your piece. I very often use this Rust-Oleum primer. I use it in gray, and it comes in other colors. This sticks really well to just about anything I've ever needed, and it just provides a very nice surface for me to start with. However, on the shiny part of the legs, this isn't that expensive. Like, this whole can, and this lasts me. I use this, I'm still not out of it, and I've been using it for a while, so this will last. This is a little bit more expensive, but it's self-etching primer, and if I hadn't wanted to paint those shiny metal legs, I could have gotten away with just this. However, this is a must if you're going to do like this shiny metal. Just follow the instructions on it, use the self-etching primer. I made mistakes, and I didn't the first time, and nothing stuck, and I had to take everything off and start again on the legs. Don't do that. Use this. Has instructions, super simple to use, and it works amazing. So prep is a big part, or priming is a big part of getting a really good, durable finish with your paint. All right, here is my first piece, ready to go. And here's the budget part. I'm using acrylic craft paints that I got from Michael's. I think they were like $1.39 or something like that. They're 2 ounces each, and you can get lots of colors. I think I used, I don't remember how many colors. I'm about to show you a picture. 6. And I did have to buy a bigger bottle of one of the colors. But these are the colors I used, and like I said, I got more of the navy. But I got all of that paint for less than I would have spent on some of the other chalk or mineral paints that I've used. Now, did I absolutely love working with this as much? No, there are some problems I ran into. But did it work? Yes. Was I able to get a nice product on a budget? Also, yes. So there is that. Right here, I knew kind of what I wanted to go for, but I didn't really, I was kind of playing around with how to do that and what I wanted to do. And I didn't really like the sponge. Also, yes, I kept using my pants to brush paint off, but I didn't like the sponge. There were a lot of bubbles and such, and I just didn't like it. So right here, I'm just randomly putting paint wherever I want it. It's my first coat. Just wherever my little heart felt I needed paint, that's where I put it. Okay, I did have a slight difference between this one and the other one on how I did the edges where the paint was. This I just brushed on. I didn't worry about brush strokes or anything like that. And this one you can see I'm making sure to kind of round it off a little bit more and smooth the edges. And I mean, not completely, but a little bit. There's no blending on the bottom coat or anything like that. I just put the paint wherever it was, wherever it made my little heart happy to put paint. And I absolutely did that to get paint on the sides. So, and this one I did one color at a time, unlike the other one. So, just whatever makes your little heart happy. And now is where we're gonna watch the magic happen. So, you can see I've already done part of it because I was practicing. Um, but what I did for the second coat was I sprayed, and I didn't do the whole thing at once because acrylic paint does dry faster than. I live in a very dry environment. Paint dries fast here anyway, but the acrylic craft paint dries really fast. So here I'm just going over and I'm changing colors. Like if I want a different color there, I'm just putting colors down where I want them, whatever I want it to look like. And I am putting on kind of thick because I need it to stay wet, right? So I spritzed it, putting on a little bit more paint than I would actually use. And I'm putting it where I'd already blended some, so it didn't have this hard edge. Now this is just a little mitt that I found in the paint section at Ace, and I'm just tapping. It's smooshing. I'm smooshing it. I'm going smoosh, 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 smoosh. And I could have cleared stuff out of my way, but I didn't. So it's really all I did is I just sat and I smooshed, and I went across where I'd already done that to kind of blend that out. And then if I wanted more color in an area, you can see I just add it. And I just kept doing this until I liked the final product. This is the second one, and you can see those ridges. I didn't smooth the first layer out as much as I should have, and then I should have sanded that out, but I didn't. So here's the final product for the second one. Now, here's what I'm doing next. I'm painting stripes. So just using tape to mark where my stripes are going to go. And I use a little washi tape to evenly space my painter's tape. And there's a bigger gap in the middle because I couldn't make this even, but I'm okay with it. That's why I didn't go all the way across the first time. I went halfway and then I went back from the other side. That way I didn't have to worry about the spacing. And I did 2 layers of paint, 2 coats, that's what it's called, 2 coats of paint with my stripes. So just painted it on, waited for it to dry, and then came back with a second coat. to get full coverage. And you can see as I do the second coat, you get much better coverage. The other important thing when doing stripes, because I can't paint another layer of the original color like you could to seal the line, is to press your tape really well. So press the edges, make sure the tape is really secured along the edges, and then I didn't brush the direction of the edges or of the tape. I just went, like parallel to the tape, so I don't get as much bleeding underneath the tape and much smoother lines. Once the tops have had time to thoroughly dry, I decided to do the undersides and make a little stripe on the sides as well in the navy because I really liked the navy color. So I just taped everything, made sure my lines were straight, and then got to painting. And I can paint really fast. See how fast I am? And again, 2 coats for full coverage. And my daughter helped me paint the insides. Now I'm painting the insides so that it's not going to be good. Like, it's not going to be super good coverage because it's hard to paint in there. But I still wanted it to be navy, so when you looked in there, it looked like it matched the rest of the desk. If you were to use a flashlight, you don't have great coverage. But a roller helped to get really good coverage. I'm painting the edges in the navy while my daughter rolled it. And we just did that. I did do 2 coats on the inside. It's just still not as good of coverage. But it at least matches the rest of, the desk. So it looks good. For the legs, I decided that I wanted to give them a metallic look because, they are metal. So I used this metallic paint still in navy. It is a little bit more expensive. I think it was $1.89, maybe up to $2. But I painted, since this was more expensive, I painted all of the surfaces that were going to be shimmery in the navy blue first, since that one's cheaper, and then went over it for the second coat in the shimmery color, the metallic color. And you do still have to pay attention to make sure you get good coverage with this, because if you don't, it'll look real streaky and you'll be able to tell. Also, yes, I did some fun blending on the bottom, really just to practice blending with acrylic paints, and they dry fast. It is kind of a tough thing to do. Or not super tough, but just harder than normal blending. So, but it makes it look pretty. It's a little fun surprise under there. And this was a challenge, brushing all these curved surfaces. Because you have to get in between surfaces and but it's okay. It was fun to just sit and paint. Now, here's where I'm going to show you have to pay attention to so you don't get streaky. Flipped it over, make sure I get other surfaces, and you can clearly see where the shimmery paint, also make sure it's really dry before you flip it, but you can see where the shimmery paint isn't. So if you don't get good coverage, you will see those streaks So I did really one coat on most of the surfaces, but I went over everything with the flashlight to look for any places I missed and do some touch-ups. And here's where I'm spraying the legs. I just made a little, it's just a wooden block with some dowels stuck through it, and then I could put the legs on that. This is the self-etching primer. If you look close, you can see where there's some blue paint that I didn't completely remove because I had already painted these, but the paint didn't stick. So, self-etching primer, you do have to still stand and stuff, but just read the directions on the can. A couple very thin coats. You go light on this and then build it up, and this will solve your problems with any like the smooth metal. It's amazing. And to paint the legs, I just painted them to match. Just use this to paint them. I only did 2 at a time on this because the other one was because I was done with the other legs. This one was because trying to paint it on, just brush it on, it was easier like this. Just how it was. And then I did the same thing with the shimmery color. And then I painted the screws. I just stuck them all in a box and then painted them. They all match. Okay, next I want to talk top coats because you primed it, you painted it, now you got to top coat it. And the acrylic paint has a very matte finish. It's not going to repel water, so this is going to help to make sure to seal it to ensure that it repels water and it really makes the colors pop. So, and you can use whatever sheen you want. Now, a good poly is going to be a little bit more expensive. So if you are in a budget, you know, smaller cans, they do have different brands that work as well. I use a brush on poly for the top because I like the smooth texture I get. I don't like spraying tops as much out of a can. I just don't like it as much. So I really like this. However, if you're on a tight budget, any kind of spray paint in a clear, you can even get the satin finish just the same. This is still going to be a pretty durable finish. How it compares to this, I haven't actually tested it. I know others have, so you should look at that. And I don't remember how much this can was because I already had this. But I did go out and I looked at this. I priced this as well. So it's a spray poly because on all the curves and stuff, I was like, I'm definitely spraying. This was $16 for a can. And I used a can and a half of this. This was $7 a can. So for the price of one can, I finished my whole piece. So is there going to be a difference in durability? I don't know. I haven't tested it. I know I have used this before, and it is durable and it holds up. How it would hold up on a top, I don't know. But if you're on a budget, this can definitely be a lifesaver. It's a great, still a good product. I wouldn't say great compared to this one because I haven't actually tested it, but I know you can get a good finish with this. You can get a durable finish with this. So budget wise, you kind of make your decision from there. Now, if you're brushing on the poly, it does tend to bubble. Do not shake that can. But I just brush really thin coats, and if I get bubbles, I just go over it. You do not want to overwork this, and if you have something that's been sitting there and you notice bubbles, don't go back to it because if it starts to dry and you drag through it, you will just cause more problems for yourself. So you can always sand it and then redo the layer. but I just brush on thin coats. I did a total of 4 or 5 because it was a top, and I want to make sure the top is really durable. You do need to sand lightly between coats to make sure they adhere to each other. Just sand really lightly and then do your next coat. Okay, now it's time to attach the legs, and I do not remember what I was doing that I had the mask on. I have no clue, but I just didn't take it off. I was doing something else, and I didn't take it off. So, just reattaching these. I didn't show me spraying all the pieces because I lost that footage, but be careful if you're spraying with a spray paint because any spray is going to tend to run, so just go easy on it. I did end up moving these down and shortening this because it was unstable this high up. Also, if you notice my little artwork over there, I'm going to release that video soon. You can see how I did that. And once you have your legs on, you are ready to go. And here are the finished pieces, sort of. Okay, now the point was to make something functional as well. So you could use them as nightstands or, side tables. But the problem with this part right here is you just have like a black hole right there. It's hard to get stuff in and out. So you need something that you can kind of pull out like a little drawer. I searched everywhere, I cannot tell you, but trying to find baskets this odd size on a budget. So I found these on Amazon. Am I in love with them? No. But you got 5 of them for a really good price. And put 2 in there. And you have little baskets you can just pull out, use, keep your stuff in. Perfect storage solution. Or I'm going to show you another option. Here is what I made as a little drawer. It is just a plain, like, kind of like a basket kind of thing. If you've seen like the rustic style baskets, it's kind of like that. What I did was I took some cedar fence pickets and I ripped them down to 3 inches here and then cut them. You could do this whole thing, literally, like you could make this whole thing with a circular saw and a drill. I did do a few extra things, so I routed the edges just to round them over a little bit. For the handle, what I did was I cut 2 holes here and then just a jigsaw to go across so you have a pull like this. You could also put an actual pull on there, but it's cedar fence pickets and they're very rough when you first get it. You're gonna have to sand really, really, really good. Like, started with 60 grit and spent a lot of time sanding up from there. But you can get a really pretty finished wood. And so I actually did this. I ripped them down and then cut them using just a circular saw. I put, and I know this might seem like an odd construction choice, since this is the front of the drawer doing it like this, but my reasoning was if the screws go in this way, when you pull the drawer this way, if it gets a little bit heavy or it's dragging or anything, then the screw is holding this way, but the force coming out, pulling on it is this way. So it's more likely, it's going to be, hopefully, that's my thought, is it would be more stable and less likely to pull. And so I went with that way, which some people might disagree that shouldn't be the front, but whatever. And on the bottom, to make it thinner, I just used a piece of plywood. And if you're like, wow, that's a little bit short. Yeah, that was actually a happy little accident because when I first put it in to test fit without the bottom on it, it was the sides were kind of catching because the bottom of the uh, cutout on the desk is rounded, so it's kind of catching, and I was gonna have to round over those curves or corners, and then I measured multiple times and still managed to cut my plywood too short. Because of course I did. And I was like, well, let's see what happens. And it raises the drawer up just enough so it slides really nicely. I still have to finish. Oh, and then I caulked the right here. So you don't have to worry about anything like sliding out of the drawer or anything like that. And I'm going to finish the inside with Howard's Feed and Wax. And on the bottom, I'm actually going to take wax and wax the bottom so it slides a little bit better. And that is how I made a very simple drawer out of 2 fence pickets, like $3 a piece, plus some leftover plywood that I happen to have. Ta-da! I do have footage, that's what this is. I do have footage of me painting. This is my third coat. The light is not going to, just takes more coats to get good coverage. I did seal everything with a coat of shellac. Since it's cedar, wanted to make sure I didn't have any problems with bleed through, so I just sealed it. And it was harder to get the blending with the acrylic paint because it dries faster than most of their paints I work with. Although paint dries fast here anyway. So give it a good misting, give it a good layer of paint, and I worked in sections so that it didn't dry as fast. Like if I did try to do the whole thing at once, and it didn't work well. When I blend around with my neutral brush, I make sure to turn it as I go so that the side that's in the light paint stays in the light paint. And then I just go until I, get the look that I like. Now I went and sometimes kind of moved the brush around and just kept going until I got what I liked. And then I did let my paint dry a little bit more before I moved to the next section, because when you spritz, you don't want the other section to be wet and then it start dripping or anything like that. You want that to be dry, which doesn't take long, honestly. And just repeated that. And yes, I left the middle till the end, but if you just kind of blend that across with what you already started, it blends out fine. You just go a little bit further than where you put your paint, and it ended up looking great. I would like to know your opinion on the colors I picked. I did go with lighter colors instead of navy for the blending because I just wanted to brighten it up a little bit, and I didn't do the same smooshing that I did before. What do you think? Do you think I should have gone with navy? Do you think I should have smooshed it? What do you think? I'd love to hear your opinion. What could I have done differently there? Or do you like it? And now you still have little drawers you can use to store your stuff in. Slide smoothly in and out. And they're prettier. What's your opinion? Would you prefer the basket or the wooden drawer? Leave a comment down below and let me know. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of What Heather Did, and be sure to check out the rest of the Blue Challenge playlist. And I'd love to hear any comments that you have down below. What do you think about the blue. And be sure to, oh, sorry, that's not my line. Before we go, we have one more blue surprise for you by my daughter. So she repainted her mirror with just spray paint all by herself.
Make sure to like and subscribe.
Thanks for watching, friends, and please check the description below for all the ways you can support my channel.